President Joe Biden is in Ukraine. We can announce that he has made a secret trip to Kyiv just days ahead of the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
So the fear is that this could trigger a very strong Russian response. We saw yesterday that a residential area of the city of Zaporizhia, a major city in the south of the country, very close to the front lines, was hit. More than a dozen.
Okay, Hugo Bashega there, our correspondent in Kyiv, obviously.
So that was an interesting development that took place over the week. President Biden there visiting Ukraine. I'm happy to report he is doing fine. That missile missed its target. We heard the air raid sirens there in the background, which was really weird because according to the news outlets now, Russia was informed way ahead of time that the president was coming. So that was all for show. Instead of being in Ohio, somewhere in the Midwest of America right now that could use money, he showed up in Ukraine, Kyiv specifically, with a $500 million check for Ukrainian citizens. So shout out to Biden, keeping it real. Now, in tonight's thumbnail, I used the title of the system being broken, and I want to get into that a little deeper, what we can do to try to fix the mess that we find ourselves in right now. And before I let you go, we're going to talk about AMC earnings that are coming up. This article from ZACKS from the 21st. Cinemark, I know, is reporting tomorrow their earnings. There are some litigious matters going on with AMC. A lot to get to. We'll see what we have time for. But before we do any of that and get way too far ahead of ourselves.
Cue the speeder.
This is the way.
Thank you for all the Cash App and Venmo donators from last month. I appreciate you guys keeping me independent. Good evening, beautiful people. Guys, what's going on? It is Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. And I want to start off tonight playing a quick clip from this week. Jimmy Dore went to go visit Patrick Bet-David. And during their podcast, Jimmy brought up an interesting point about change, how to really enact change. And I would say for retail right now, we are looking at a system that heavily favors the hedge funds. And so how do you advocate for change? Jimmy's going to explain in this clip. Watch.
The only way you can have change and get people into the streets is when they lose faith in the system. And we have to get them, we have to disabuse them of the idea that there is somebody fighting for them in this system, and there isn't.
So I was going to ask you, what's the solution? You just said the solution is to get people to lose faith in the system. A part of it, and get in the streets to lose faith in the system. Okay, so let's just say, let's play that. Let's say that happens. Okay, let's say somehow, some way, AOC and Bernie Sanders listen to this and they have a change of heart, and they say, Jimmy, you're right. And they tweet out on Twitter today and they say, Jimmy's right. Okay, let's take it on the streets and let's go everywhere and let's protest against this. Fantastic. Then what?
That's how things change. That's how we got civil rights.
What should change?
That's how women got the right.
What should change? We
get money out of politics is the first thing. We got to get money out of politics, and so it's the I would recommend public financing of our elections, and we shorten our election season. There's a million things you could do that way, but definitely get money out of politics.
You want to have election campaign finance reform,
right?
That's number one on your list.
That'll never change.
That would be so. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
until we shut stuff down. I mean, the truckers showed that you could bring them to their needs.
Yep.
And
in Canada.
Yeah. And so, and of course, people in the United States, they listen to the corporate media. They call those people Nazis when they're actually freedom fighters, and they were right. They weren't fighting against medicine. The truckers were vaccinated at a higher rate than the general population in Canada. They were fighting against authoritarianism, and they were right. And America look at those truckers, and they call them Nazis, and they look at Nazis in Ukraine, and they call them freedom fighters. That's how messed up our corporate media is.
I want you to keep going, though. Give me more. So that was a very good point, but keep going.
So what happened in Staten Island at the Amazon warehouse. Christian Smalls is a black guy who got fired, and then he decided to organize a union. And he organized along class lines. So a lot of people on the left in the Democratic Party said we have to organize along class lines. They don't mean it. Because what organizing along class lines means is you're going to organize with Trumpers. You're going to organize with, because you're in the same class. And that's exactly what Christian Smalls did on Staten Island. You know Staten Island is a bunch of Trump voters. And so he went and organized those people because they have a common interest. And they have a common enemy, and that is the establishment and the oligarchy. And you put down your differences politically, and you join together on a class basis, and that's how you make change. And so we need more of that. We need more people coming together, unless the left and the right realize that we do have common interests, which we do. We all want to stop the war machine. We all want to stop this authoritarianism around COVID. We all want to stop a lot of things, right? So if we could come together and realize we're being screwed because our government is 100% corrupt, then maybe we could get something done.
Now, being an independent, I would not say that I agree with 100% of Jimmy Dore's takes on everything. But when it comes to this, the government, the corruption, the oligarchy, the 1%, I agree with him 100%. The only way to get change is to shut shit down, get out in the streets, make your voice heard. And, we did this just a few weeks back when we went to DC to protest the SEC. Now, unfortunately for retail, we've barely made a blip on the radar with that protest. So it seems like we're going to need to get out there again until they start listening. All right, now we got to move on to Cinemark's earnings tomorrow, AMC next week. What do we have to look forward to over the next 10 or so days with our play? All right, so this article from ZACKS is from February 21st, 2023, speaking on AMC Entertainment and the expecting earnings ahead of Q4's release. We know the report will be dropped on February 28th, 2023. Just to keep in mind, tomorrow Cinemark is going to have their earnings as well. That might be something we can kind of take a look at, but remember, there's a lot of intangibles here that are different between Cinemark and AMC. So just keep that in the back of your mind, guys. But according to Zach's consensus estimate, the movie theater operator is expected to post quarterly loss of 20 cents per share in its upcoming report, which represents a year-over-year change of negative 81.8%. Revenues are expected to be $1.3 billion, down about 11% from a year ago quarter. Now, that might seem like all terrible news, but if a little further down the article, when it talks about how the numbers are shaping up for AMC, it says the most accurate estimate is higher than the ZACKS consensus estimate, suggesting that analysts have recently become bullish on the company's earning prospects. This has resulted in an earnings ESP of plus 8.86%. Further down, bottom line, an earnings beat or miss may not be the sole basis for a stock moving higher or lower. Many stocks end up losing ground despite an earnings beat, and guys, we've seen that before in the past. Don't be shocked if that happens. Similarly, unforeseen catalysts help a number of stocks gain despite earning a miss, and that could come from our conversion and reverse split. So we just got to be a little more patient and see how this plays out. Keep an eye on Cinemark's earnings tomorrow. That might give us a little bit of an indicator of where we are headed as far as Q4 earnings. All right, now, I was hoping we were going to have time to get into some of the litigious issues that AMC is having. Looks like we're going to have to save that either for tomorrow's video or the live stream tomorrow night, which I would expect we're going to get going. Now, I just finished my first week of training for my new job because I don't know if you guys know or not, but AMC hasn't squeezed yet. So Mouse has to be making more money than he is right now. But this weekend, we're going to get back on track, do some live streams, hopefully get another video up. All right, guys, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm going to let you go. If you made it this far in the video, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like and subscribe button, that would be awesome. As always, thank you for all the likes, the views, the comments, my new subscribers, my OGs. I appreciate each and every one of you. We are here to break the wheel. This is Ape Nation. I'm the Massalorian, and I'm out.